Hey, what's up, everyone? Nukem here, and today we're going to focus on confessions. A lot of fun, good stories, and downright awful stories people endured. Appreciate you guys hitting the like and subscribe. The first one's titled, I figured out yesterday that my son isn't biologically mine. My wife doesn't know that I know. My son is almost a year old now. He doesn't look anything like me. And people have always teased me about it, but I couldn't get the nagging idea he might not be mine out of my head. So, secretly, I decided to do a DNA test behind her back so she doesn't know my suspicion. So one day, she went out to grocery shop and then I took a cotton swab of my inside of my cheek and my supposedly son inside my cheek. I had to change the address to the DNA company to a friend's house so she wouldn't arouse suspicion and used a fake email address that I would check daily to see when I got my results. After a couple weeks, it turns out he's definitely not biologically mine. I found out yesterday, and honestly, I'm crushed. Not only did my wife cheat on me with another man, but she likely knows that our son isn't biologically mine, or at least suspects it. I've already contacted an attorney who's going to take a look and work on assisting me through a divorce. I see a lot of late nights drink alone in my future even after this nightmare is over. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If this happened to you, what would you do? Our next story is titled, My Father Showed Me His Paycheck and I Nearly Had a Heart Attack. My family lives in a modest house. We have a cheap vehicle for my dad, for the one he used for work. We live in a modest area, and he dresses in fishing shirts, cheap pants, and his days off at home. I now realize he's never at home. The man works 11-hour shifts in the most stressful, traumatizing environment imaginable. So I always believed we were barely making it, living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm off to college, and I told my dad before I left that I will work hard in college to make sure I get a good job and so I can finally take care of the family and we don't have to be struggling anymore. He turned to me and showed me his paycheck, and I just realized he makes about $700 an hour. After living in middle class my whole life, I realized that he's rich. My whole family was rich. More rich than I could ever have imagined. So I decided to follow in his footsteps and learn emergency medicine in college, and he told me that he was proud of me for wanting to work as hard as he did. I can't believe he purposely raised me to believe that we weren't well off, with almost no money to encourage me to work hard and succeed. I love him more than ever now. I promise I'm not lying, and growing up I never was handed anything besides schooling and college, which is an absolute blessing. When I say I love him all the more now, I realize just how good a person he truly is. My father wears those cheap Casio watch, and I wanted a Lego set as a kid, and he told me, alright, I'll buy it for you if you work 7 hours in a yard. I guess he always wanted to instill a good work ethic in me. So let me know what you guys think. If you were in this situation that your family was actually well off and you've been living as if you were barely making it. For our next story is titled, I Thought She Was Different. My girlfriend is a 20-year-old female and I'm a 23-year-old male, and we have been dating for almost 2 years. We met in college, and after we graduated, I moved into her town very far from my home just to be with her. We spent every second of the day together unless we were at work. We now live together and work in the same industry but at different shops. She began telling me about this guy she works with that wanted her to work with him. She talked about him a lot. But since we spend every second out of work together, and I was the only one that could drive, so I decided to trust her and told her just to be careful because I thought he was into her. Tonight we had dinner with her coworker and bosses, and everything seemed to be going great. She got insanely drunk against my warning and I have been spending all night taking care of her and carrying her into our apartment. I was sending her mom a text from her phone to let her know that she was okay when I saw a text from the guy she works with. Now, I'm not the type of person to go through phones to check on what my girlfriend's doing, but for him to text so late as they were both drunk was very weird to me, especially since she had never even told me that they texted each other. So I opened it and immediately saw messages from earlier today before she had a sip of alcohol and a couple days ago of them saying that they were attracted to each other. And he would ask why she was with me, and she just said it's because she feels stuck. She said I treated her like shit and thinks I only use her for her body, despite the fact that we haven't had any sexual encounters for over a month and over 3 months before that. I know that sounds like a very sad sex life, but that's what the situation is. And I thought everything was okay. I am endlessly kind to her. I give her all the affections in the world. I spoil her as much and whenever I can. I drive her everywhere she wants to go. And I genuinely believe she loved me this whole time. This is completely shocking, and I feel like a complete moron and idiot. I can't talk to her about it until the morning because she is still barfing over the toilet bowl, but I haven't stopped taking care of her altogether. I don't know what to do. Our last stories today is a bit of a shocker. The title, My Teacher Impregnated Me. When I was a sophomore in high school, I had a fairly young history teacher. I was failing his class, so he invited me over, which he has done with many student girls and boys for tutoring sessions. He had a dedicated room for it too. Well, the first few sessions were normal tutoring, and then one day he kissed me. It went from there, and we had sex. Our tutoring sessions quickly changed into hookup sessions 3 times a week. He made me feel like he was in love with me. He would tell me he loved me and that we were going to get married and have a family one day. He even bought me new clothes, a name brand purse, and even helped my parents with money for some of our bills. My parents thought he was a nice guy because we were very poor and he had just felt bad. Well, a month after our sessions went on, I missed my period and took several tests and found out that I was pregnant. I went to him first, and he straight up wanted me to get rid of it. I had to go to my parents as they demanded to know who the father was so they can discuss it with his family. And I didn't want to rat him out because I believed we were in love. But my parents secretly went through my emails and found out that it was my teacher. They called the police, and I ended up having to get rid of the child. He lost his license and was arrested and even wrote to me while he was in jail telling me that he knew that it wasn't my fault. I always know that it wasn't normal, but at the time, it really broke my heart. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think of that crazy last story. You hear all the time and see in the news, but someone decided to share their stories. Alright guys, I appreciate the like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out our other stories, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.